Begin standing at the top of your mat with your big toes touching and reach overhead for a gentle back bend. As you exhale, bend down for a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, step back into high plank pose. Lean an inch forward, lower your knees, and bring your elbows back to graze your sides for chaturanga. Inhale for cobra or upward facing dog, bringing your chest forward and up towards the sun. Exhale, bringing your body to a downward V for downward dog. Bend your knees generously here, and feel free to walk the dog, bending one knee at a time. Come high up on your tippy toes, and then let your heels sink into the mat, feeling grounded in this practice. Coming all the way up on your tippy toes, make your way to the top of your mat. Reverse swan dive up for a gentle back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, step back into plank. Engage your core and come through chaturanga into upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hop, step, or jump to the top of your mat and lower into chair pose. Forward fold. Inhale, arms overhead for a gentle back bend. Forward fold, step your left leg back and bend your right knee 90 degrees. High lunge. Make sure that you can see your front few toes and that your knee is not extended forward over your ankle. Exhale to frame your foot and step back into downward facing dog. On your next inhale, step your left leg up to the front of the mat for high lunge on the opposite side. Square your hips towards the top of the mat. Allow your shoulders to sink away from your ears. Frame your foot with your hands and step back into plank pose. Open into side plank, lifting your left arm up towards the sky and using your core to raise your hips so that you're in a straight diagonal line. Exhale, switch sides. Lower back through regular high plank pose and step back to downward facing dog, tiptoeing to the top of the mat. Reverse swan dive up, gentle back bend. Step your left foot back at a 45-degree angle and bend your right knee so that your hips are square to the mat and you can still see your toes, but this time we're going to come into warrior one. Lower down through chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your left foot to the top of the mat and sink into warrior one. Step back into an upwards V for downward facing dog. Bring your right foot to the top of the mat and open your hips towards the long edge of the mat for warrior two. Allow your left hand to rest on your back thigh as you reach up for peaceful warrior, and then reach forward for side angle. Straighten your front leg and lower your upper body sideways down to triangle. Bring your feet a little wider than hip width apart clasp your hands behind your back and bend forward into a standing Y-legged fold. Use your arms and hands as leverage to fold deeper. Place your left foot forward for Warrior One. Open your arms for Warrior Two and let your shoulders sink away from your ears. Reach up and over, back towards Peaceful Warrior. Engage your obliques for side angle, using your left arm just as a resting place, but really your abs are holding you up here. Straighten your front leg, reach forward, and then come down for triangle pose. You want to be completely flat here, as if you could fit right into a toaster slot. Take a few goddess squats here, so bring your feet wider than hip width apart and bend your knees with your toes facing the outside corners of the mat. As you lower so that you're making a right angle with both of your knees, tuck your pelvis under and bring your arms out to the side like a cactus or a field goal. Square your hips to the top of the mat and reach forward for pyramid pose, standing head to knee. Pull your right hip back as you allow your hamstring to open. Step to the front of the mat, bend your knees, and sink into chair pose. Step your right leg back, bend over your front leg for pyramid. Inhale, find length, and exhale, soften into the stretch. Step forward to the top of the mat and bend at the waist for a forward fold. Return to chair pose and twist so that both of your arms are on the outside of your right thigh. Return through center as you twist to the other side. Reach tall, finding length as you shine your heart forward for a gentle back bend. Root your left toes into the ground as you make your way into tree pose. Focus on one spot in front of you to help improve your balance. To challenge your balance, close your eyes. You can place your right foot really anywhere on your leg except for your knee to protect your joint. Hug your knee to your chest and roll your ankle in circles. Kick that same right leg back and lean forward for Warrior Three or airplane pose. Return to standing and reset with a gentle back bend. Ground yourself, really feeling a connection with your right foot in the ground, and then come into tree pose on the opposite side, keeping in mind that one side is often easier to balance on than the other side. Roll your ankle in circles as you hug your knee to your chest, still balancing on your right foot. Hinge at the hips and press through your back toes, coming into Warrior Three. Feel a long line of energy from the tips of your toes to the front of your fingertips. With control, step forward and come out of the stretch. inhale back bend, and then grab your left hand with your right and stretch from one side and then to the other. Clasp your hands behind your back, bring your chest forward, and fold. Slowly come up into standing and release. Swan dive, forward fold. Step your left foot back, high lunge. Inhale, coming up, and as you exhale, twist over your right knee. Follow your own breath here for a quick flow. Switch feet. Find your balance, reach tall, and then extend your left leg up and then bend it as you twist to the left. This is a great way to detox and really wring out anything that we no longer need in our internal organs, get some blood flow going. It's great for digestion. Meet at the front of the mat and make your way into a high plank pose. Engage your core and lower onto your forearms with your shoulders above your elbows. Walk your hips to the sky for dolphin pose. It's pretty much a downward facing dog, but on your elbows. Lower your knees to the mat and let your hips sink back onto your heels for extended child's pose. Crawl both of your hands to the top right corner of your mat and allow your left side body to open. Pass through center as you then walk both of your hands to the top left of your mat. Breathe deep into the space behind your lungs for extended child's pose and then press forward into cobra or upward facing dog. Stack your hips over your knees and your shoulders over your wrists for table pose, or come onto all fours. Transition between cat pose and cow pose, really just listening to your body and putting some mobility in your spine. So for cat pose, you'll round your back, and for cow pose, you'll dip your belly, curving your spine in both directions. Extend your right leg straight back behind you, engage your core, and extend your left arm straight in front of you, balancing in table pose. Keep your hips square as you change sides. Lower into a comfortable seated pose and extend over your right leg, keeping your left foot placed into your right thigh for a seated hamstring stretch. Allow your knees to fall open to the side as you bring the soles of your feet together for butterfly. To intensify the stretch, you can lean forward. Gently come out of this pose and extend, resting your head to your knee on the left-hand side for a hamstring stretch. Bend your knees towards the sky, place your wrists under your shoulders behind you, and lift your pelvis to the sky for upward table pose. Allow your head to be neutral or to hang back behind you if that's comfortable. Slowly lower down and hug your left knee to your chest. Extend your right arm and twist over your left shoulder. Inhale, keeping a tall spine as you switch sides, using your back hand kind of as a kickstand. Come out of the pose and transition into easy seated pose, with your legs crossed and your spine tall. Allow your right ear to fall towards your right shoulder, as you gently allow your left side of your neck to open. To intensify the stretch, you can crawl your left fingertips away from your body. Switch sides. Gently roll your neck, noticing if there's anywhere in particular that you're holding any tension that you can let go of. Release your jaw, and find comfort in this mobility, looking up and down, as well as right to left. Place your right forearm to the side of your right hip and extend your left fingertips over towards your right side. Switch sides as you breathe deep into your right side body, leaning towards the left. Extend your right leg out to the top corner of the mat if you are facing it the long ways at a 45-degree angle. Bend sideways, reaching towards your toes. Switch sides. Extend both legs out to your sides for a straddle split. Try to keep your back here as straight as possible. You can lean from one side to the other or just stay in the middle, listening to your body and what it's asking of you today in this moment. As you meditate here, imagine inhaling, filling your lungs with breath, and when you exhale, watch that breath soften the muscles in your hamstrings, thighs, and groin. Literally see yourself sending breath to those muscles, and instead of forcing them to stretch, allow them to relax and soften. Come out of this stretch very slowly and cross your legs for easy seated position. Inhale your arms overhead and exhale as you paint imaginary walls on your way down. Bring your palms to touch at heart center. And then allow your pointer finger and your thumb to join together. Your remaining 3 fingers to just lay open on your knees for an Om Mudra, connecting you to the entire universe. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have the best day. Namaste.